Hi, this is our garden fence that we put up this spring. Pretty much forced to do it. Just the last couple of years, deer and rabbits have been eating just about everything. So as you can see, it's just chicken wire and held in place mostly by these T-posts. So supposedly, to be absolutely safe from deer, you need a 7-foot fence. We compromised at 6 feet so far. Nobody's tried to jump over it. So this is a 6-foot width of chicken wire. And then to prevent burrowing under it, folded 1 foot of it onto the ground here and then secured that with these staples. These are 10-inch landscape staples. Pushing pretty easily with a rubber mallet. We used 10-inch where we could. Some areas you just couldn't get a 10-inch staple in, so we used 8-inch. And then, so that goes up 5 feet. And the fence is actually 6 feet high. The top foot is just steel wire, and put some flagging tape around it just so the deer could see it and not try to jump over it. So these are 8-foot T-posts, not easy to find. I got these from Maynard's, and there was like $250 for 25 posts, and then another $250 to ship it here. But I just couldn't find them locally. So then these are pounded in with a stake driver 2 feet into the ground. So again, that leaves 6 foot exposed. And then the chicken wire is just attached to these with regular cable ties. So we've got the T-posts about 8 feet apart. And then in the corners, the T-posts really aren't rigid enough to hold up the fence. So we've got these pressure treated 4x4s. These are also 8 feet long. And to mount those, just used a post hole digger. Dig a 2-foot hole. I'd never used one of these before. It's actually not that difficult to dig down 2 feet. And then to secure the posts, use this expanding foam. It's called Fast 2K. We got this online from Lowe's, and from all reports, this is much better than the stuff they actually sell in the store at Lowe's. Last time I looked, it actually wasn't on their website, but you can get it from Amazon. It's a 2-part foam, so they tell you to actually mix it in the bag, but it takes somewhat less than a whole bag for each post. So that was kind of inconvenient. So instead, what we did is just pour as much as we need of the of each of the 2 parts into a yogurt container, and just stir that with a stick, and that was a more efficient use of it. This is not cheap. This is like $25 for each bag of this stuff, but it does work really well. So this has been there all summer, and it's still in there really nice and solid. So to mount the chicken wire on the post, we just pulled it by hand, nothing special, and attached it initially with cable ties, and then came back later and added some staples with a staple gun. These are just 3/8 inch by 3/8 inch staples. So that's about it. And then of course you need a door. So here's a door, and fortunately we've got our shed right at the edge of the garden, so we're able to mount the door right on the shed here. And the door we actually made from a piece of lattice fence. This stuff is made of slats. This is kind of a tongue and groove here. And we didn't want it as wide as the piece of fence, which is almost 6 feet wide. But we wanted it wide enough to get artillery, and we have a big Troy-built rototiller. So this is about 3.5 feet wide. So to get that, we pulled off this end section here, end slat. And this is just glued together. It's not that difficult to get it apart. So pulled that off, cut this down, cut the lattice down, and then cut out that whole center section to bring it down to a 3.5 foot wide door. So then this is just mounted with standard gate hinges onto pressure treated 2x8, and then that's screwed with 3.5 inch deck screws to the corner post of the shed. And then at the bottom, just for security, decided to put in a threshold that's also a piece of pressure treated 2x8. And even though it's rated for ground contact, decided to dig out a space below it and put in rock so it wouldn't actually be sitting on the ground. And then notched it so it fits around the 2x8 here, and then it's screwed into the 2x8. And then same thing here, notched it around this post. This of course is another 8 foot 4x4, goes 2 feet into the ground, and it's just notched around that and then screwed into it. And then at the top here, just to stabilize the post, put in a pressure treated 2x4 lintel. So the hardware is just standard gate hardware. This is a really nice latch because opens from the outside, but you can also open it from the inside, and you can do that with one hand, which is really convenient. After a while it started sagging, so I put this turnbuckle here to keep the door square. So the very first day after we had put up the door and the chicken wire here, and the chicken wire was again just secured to the post with the cable ties. And that night or very early morning, something came through here, ripped the chicken wire right off the 4x4. And I guess it was a deer. So I guess this passage was really a thoroughfare for deer before we put up the fence. But in any case, put these bamboo posts with a 1 foot spacing all across this section of the fence just to deter deer, and haven't had any trouble with it since. So here's a breakdown of the cost. This is to enclose an area of about 55 by 65 feet. So nothing really expensive here, but it does add up. So we ended up spending a little over $1,000. Of course, it would have been a big savings if we'd been able to get the T-posts locally and hadn't had to have them shipped. On the other hand, we did get a good deal on a used piece of lattice fence for about $50. This stuff now costs $167 a section, and if you buy a pre-made door, that's almost $400. At that point, you might as well make a door yourself. But in any case, still well worth the cost to not have animals eating every single thing you try to grow. So that's basically our fence. It has kept deer and rabbits out all summer. Of course, it doesn't keep squirrels out. They're still a problem. But there's our fence, and hope it gives you some ideas for your fence. Thanks for watching.